Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into some of the internet's, let's say, more shadowed corners. We're going to pull back the curtain on some unsettling, really mysterious, and sometimes genuinely terrifying things you can find online, especially over on YouTube. Think of it like heading down one of those digital rabbit holes. One click leads to another, and suddenly you're deep into something that makes you question what's real, what might be a hoax, or what's just too dark to really get your head around. We got a few really unique cases lined up. Some are real-life mysteries, people who just vanish. Others are these strange digital things, and some are, well, a chilling mix of both. And these stories, they're not just weird. They often leave you with way more questions than answers, pulling you deeper into the mystery. Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's see what chilling truths we might dig up. We're starting with a story that honestly feels like something out of a thriller movie, but it's completely real. It's about Li Shihua, who went by Chris Lee online. He was a 25-year-old Chinese journalist, a content creator with nearly 70,000 YouTube subscribers.
Now, before YouTube, Chris actually worked for CCTV, which is China's state-run news channel. But he got really disillusioned, with all the censorship. He felt like anyone who dared to criticize the government just got silenced. So he quit his new plan: document the truth, share his honest opinions on his own YouTube channel. And his first big focus was the pandemic. And he decided to film right from the epicenter Wuhan back in February 2020. Part of his inspiration actually was the really mysterious disappearance of another figure, a lawyer named Chen Qishi. Chen had been vlogging about Wuhan and then just vanished. Chris was convinced he'd been silenced. So Chris heads into what they were calling the red zone, the really restricted area at the heart of the crisis. He got some local help, found an apartment, a vehicle. From there, he started vlogging, took his camera out, did interviews, went to hospitals, basically showing the world what he saw as government failures, cover-ups. But he was showing too much, saying too much. And it wasn't long before the authorities noticed. His first YouTube short is only one, actually. It's called SOS. Chilling title, just 30 seconds long. You see Chris, he looks absolutely terrified driving on a motorway. He explains that just moments before, this white SUV drove straight at him on the wrong side of the road, then swerved to block him. Men inside apparently told him to surrender. Instead, he just slammed the accelerator. In the video, he says, "Friends, I'm on the road right now being pursued and chased by state authorities who are in an unmarked van. Pray for me." Soon after that, he somehow made it back to his apartment. And he immediately starts a live stream. It went on for almost 4 hours, but for most of it, the screen was just black. Chris was hiding in the dark, lights off, totally silent, hoping the men outside would think he wasn't there. You could actually hear knocking at his door sometimes during the stream. After 3 hours hiding, Chris, clearly distressed, finally turns on the lights. He starts talking to his viewers. He said he kind of expected this, just not so fast. Said he wouldn't try to escape. He reflected on, finally speaking his own mind, saying, "These own thoughts will probably become my final speech." Then right at the very end, his internet connection starts getting weak. He starts talking to the man outside his door, appealing to them, explaining a journalist's duty is to the truth. Then he opens the door. You see two men walk into the apartment, and then the video just cuts off abruptly. For the next 2 months, nothing. Chris was gone. His viewers, understandably, were fearing the absolute worst. Then suddenly, April 22nd, 2020, a new video pops up, 6 minutes long, titled, "I'm Chris Here is something about me since February 26th. But this video, I said, it felt completely off, totally out of character. His style, his tone, completely neutral. And remember, he'd been critical of the CCP, right? Now he's praising them, saying he's fine, treated very well, felt so scripted. He's just standing there, middle of this blank, featureless room, delivering the message almost like a robot. He even ends with this really strange quote from the Book of Documents. The whole thing, the setting, how he spoke, it just makes you wonder who's standing just off camera.
It's incredibly chilling. Chris's story, it isn't just about bravery, is it? It's a really stark example of how a state can almost hijack someone's digital voice. Forcing this kind of public re-education broadcast, it's arguably more insidious than just making someone disappear. And it really forces us to ask, in this age of deepfakes and manipulated narratives, how do we even know what's true? Especially when dissent isn't just silenced, but actively twisted for everyone to see. That digital trail lets the whole world watch this transformation, making viewers really grapple with the nature of truth itself in these controlled places.
That's a really powerful point. It leaves you with some deeply unsettling questions, for sure. Since that last video, Chris hasn't uploaded anything else. No social media posts, nothing. He just vanished from the internet. And given China's track record on human rights, yeah, a lot of people are still really concerned, worried about re-education camps, or maybe something worse. But what Chris did it was incredibly important. He spoke truth about a global crisis when getting real reports out of China was extremely difficult. He was brave enough to do it, and it really looks like he paid a terrible price. Okay, so from the very real dangers of online dissent, we're going to shift gears now. Let's dive into a different kind of internet strangeness. This one is unsettling, maybe not because it's dangerous, but just because it's so bizarre and maybe a bit artistic in a creepy way. Let's pull ourselves out of that rabbit hole and drop into another one. The weird world of a Japanese YouTube channel called Nugamu. If you like creepy visuals, this channel definitely delivers. The main figure is this eerie, kind of doll-like character, a virtual YouTuber, one of those animated avatars. This one's also named Nugamu, and he's in almost every video. He's got nearly 55,000 subscribers, so clearly he struck a chord with people. And in his videos, Nugamu says some pretty unsettling stuff. Like he talks about wanting viewers to send him their eyeballs, claims he's standing right behind you as you watch, calls people neat things, all this with really ominous music playing. And here's a weird twist. The videos that don't have Nugamu in them, they somehow feel even creepier. On top of that, the video titles are all just gibberish. They use these obscure, random kanji characters, the Japanese writing symbols, to make sentences that don't mean anything. But it's not just the titles. If you look in the comment section of any video, it's just wild. Even people commenting in English are saying things like, oh, Nugamu is so cute, or he's so handsome, look at his bare chest. Even things like they want to have babies with him. The fan base seems weirdly overly devoted and amorous. They make fan art, follow him on social media, leave these bizarre comments. It's just strange. What do you make of something like that? Is it actually sinister?
Well, Nugamu is actually a fascinating case study in what you might call digital meta-humor. It really shows how the internet can create these shared realities, right? Where an inside joke can look like some kind of cult following to anyone on the outside looking in. It makes you think, how do online communities use satire? How do they build these layers of meaning through collective performance, especially when it's designed to be intentionally weird or off-putting? What looks sinister from one angle can actually be this intricate shared joke on the inside.
That's exactly it. The surprising truth here is, yeah, there is a deeper meaning, but it's not nearly as dark as you might first think. See, before Nugamu showed up, there was this huge trend in Japan of VTubers, virtual YouTubers, but they were all these really cute anime-style characters. Super popular. Nugamu is basically the opposite of that. It's like an anti-VTuber channel. It's satire. And all those fans leaving those weird obsessive comments, they're totally in on the joke. They're playing along. They're leaving the exact same kind of over-the-top comments you'd find on the channels of those cute VTubers, just applied to this creepy doll thing instead. So in a weird way, these dark, alarming videos are actually kind of brilliant satire. Pretty clever when you get it. All right, from creepy satire, let's move to something that really blurs the line. Is it a digital glitch? An urban legend. It started with a Facebook post about a YouTube ad, an ad that may be watched back. Now, there's no video of this, just a screenshot of the post itself, but the story it tells is pretty unsettling. Back in 2019, this Facebook user, Raul Navarrete, made a post that got a lot of traction. He said he was watching YouTube on his smart TV. An ad pops up. He goes to skip it, like you do, but then he notices the ad is over 5 hours long. Which is weird, right? So he calls his dad over to look at this crazy long ad. The girl in the ad is talking. But then when his dad comes over, she apparently turns her eyes and looks right at his dad. Even his dad joked, like, hey, she's looking at me. So Raul and his dad are standing there watching. The girl goes quiet. And they both get this feeling she's looking right at them. Well, both of them. They're telling themselves, no, this is impossible, right? It's just an ad, not a video call. They kind of laugh about how silly it sounds. The girl keeps talking, but then suddenly she gets really close to the screen in the ad. And that feeling of unease, it starts turning into actual fear. So Raul's dad decides to test it. He says the word chunga a couple of times. It means monkey or ape in Spanish. Just testing, And the story goes, the girl in the ad repeats it back. Chunga. Oh, God. At that moment, Raul and his dad are just terrified. They immediately grab their remote, skip the ad, turn the TV off completely. They're left wondering, what on earth just happened? Does the TV have a camera they didn't know about? Was YouTube hacked? It was just too bizarre to ignore.
Okay, if we think about the tech side, an ad that can genuinely see you through a TV camera, process speech in real time, and respond, that would need some serious hacking, or a totally new kind of ad tech that just doesn't exist in standard advertising. I mean, sure, ads are targeted. Some might have basic interactive things like polls maybe, but accessing your camera, listening, responding instantly, that's extremely unlikely, bordering on impossible with current standard TV and ad systems.
Yeah, that technical aspect is pretty key, isn't it? So even though the story is really compelling, kind of haunting, you have to remember, like the source says, there's no video proof. It's just Raul's account. And while YouTube definitely has some weirdly long, maybe unsettling ads sometimes, that real-time interaction part, it probably points to this being a really good story. Or maybe a very strange coincidence of timing. It's almost certainly not possible, like technologically, to have an ad that's basically a live video chat. So, great story, but yeah, probably it's the story. Okay, we've looked at intentional creepiness, digital hoaxes. But sometimes, internet mysteries are tied really deeply to real-world tragedies. They pull online communities into this desperate search for answers. And that brings us to a really enduring one, the mystery of Maura Murray. Maura was 21, a nursing student at UMass Amherst. On February 9, 2004, she disappeared after a car accident on Route 112 in New Hampshire. But the things that happened before she vanished were really cryptic, suspicious even. And they turned this from just a missing person case into something truly puzzling and honestly pretty bone-chilling. Right before she left campus that afternoon, Maura emailed her professors. She lied, saying there'd been a loss in her family and she needed a week off. Except nobody in her family had died. That immediately raised questions. Was Maura running from something? Or maybe someone? And even before that day, her behavior had been unusual. Like 3 months earlier, she got caught using a stolen credit card. Then, just 4 days before she disappeared, a supervisor at the university found her breaking down, crying, totally zoned out, unresponsive. 2 days before, she crashed her dad's car into a guardrail, possibly after drinking. And just hours before the final incident, she went to an ATM, withdrew $280. No one knows why. Then, sometime between 4 and 5 p.m. that day, she got in her car and drove off. Didn't tell anyone where she was going. It was after 7 p.m. when she crashed her car into a snowbank up on Route 112. When the police arrived, the car's windshield was cracked, airbags deployed, but Maura was gone. Inside the car, they found expensive things, like diamond jewelry, also empty bottles, her AAA card, and this book, Not Without Peril, about climbing in the White Mountains nearby. And since that crash, nothing. Maura's whereabouts, her fate, totally unknown. She just vanished, never seen again. Theories range from her choosing to disappear because of personal problems to something much darker like a stalker, or maybe she accepted a ride from the wrong person after the crash. For years, the case went cold. No real developments. Then, exactly 8 years to the day after Maura vanished, this video gets uploaded to YouTube. Title, Happy Anniversary. The whole video is just this old man staring at the camera. He laughs, then gives this knowing wink, and across the screen the words, Happy Anniversary. The user who uploaded it, their name was a 112 dirtbag. Now remember, Maura disappeared on Route 112, and her father had very publicly used the term dirtbags to describe whoever might have taken her. This felt like way too specific to be a coincidence. People online immediately made the connection. They suspected 112 dirtbag was the person responsible for Maura's disappearance. Uploading this video to taunt the family, basically laughing about getting away with it, this obviously got reported to the police. An investigation started. Even though the video was taken down pretty quickly, they managed to track down the man behind the channel, Alden Olson from Massachusetts. People thought, okay, this is it. This is the break in the case. But no, it turned out the whole thing was just a cruel hoax. Olson was apparently just this eccentric older guy who'd become completely obsessed with Maura's case. He just wanted to insert himself into the story somehow. It was all just a really macabre, awful joke.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Why are we as humans so drawn to these unsolved mysteries, these unanswered questions? And how do these online spaces like YouTube comments or forums get tangled up with real life tragedy? That anonymity of the internet combined with this huge public fascination with true crime. Sadly, it can lead to speculation and actions online that don't help find answers. Sometimes they just inflict more pain on families who are already grieving and desperate for closure.
That's a really important point, a stark reminder of how the search for truth can get sidetracked, even derailed by online behavior. And to this day, we still don't know what happened to Maura Murray. The source we looked at speculates maybe that loss in her family she mentioned. Maybe she met herself. Maybe she chose to start a new life somewhere, or maybe she ended the one she had. We just don't know. But even though that particular dirtbag, Alden Olson, wasn't responsible, it's still entirely possible that another one was. We just don't have the answers. All we can do is keep wondering, keep hoping maybe one day we will. So we've been on quite a journey today, haven't we? Through some really unsettling corners of the internet, from the very real dangers faced by people like Chris Lee trying to share truth, to the just plain bizarre satire of Nugamu, and then into the deep, lingering sadness of true crime mysteries like Maura Murray's. It really underscores how the internet, this place built for connection, for information, also holds these incredibly dark, unresolved, and often really chilling stories. Sometimes the things we find online, the stories, the mysteries, they can hit harder, feel more disturbing than any fiction. They really challenge how we think about safety, about reality, about what's out there. What really stands out to you from all this? Does hearing about these digital mysteries make you think differently about those corners of the internet you usually just scroll past? Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration today. If these stories captivated you as much as they did us, please do hit that like button. Share this deep dive with anyone else you know who appreciates a good mystery. And definitely subscribe to our channel, Horror Docx, for more unsettling tales. We'll be back uncovering more soon.